All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to this webinar where Banu Basaran is going to be talking about the future of work and how to thrive with BG5. My name is Karen Sherwood. I am one of the directors here at the BG5 Business Institute, and I want to personally welcome you in joining us today in this amazing webinar. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Banu.
All right. Well, thank you so much and welcome everyone. Great to have you with us on this webinar. And I'm very excited because we're going to be speaking about something that is actually happening right? The future of work and how work is changing really. And we're going to tap into how things are changing. And then we're going to look at how really BG5 knowledge can help us thrive in this new environment. So I want to start by introducing myself. So as Karen said, I am Banu, and I have been working in the IT industry for some 20 plus years now. I've had many different roles throughout my career in various sections. And then I'm an instructor at the BG5 Business Institute. I lead very successful teams in different countries in my daily job, let me put it that way. I'm also a breath coach and I do mind coaching. And the legacy I want to leave behind is to be someone who has helped many people bring the best out of themselves, both as my current daily job as being the people manager, and then also through the BG5 Institute, helping everyone bring the best out of themselves. And according to BG5 and Human Design Knowledge, my life purpose is being a great teacher dedicated to explaining the same thing over and over, thus furthering education and change, who is always interested in what comes next. And I think when I actually started learning about the BG5 information and when I discovered what my life purpose was, reading this through, there was so much enthusiasm in me towards the BG5 knowledge, learning it for me and then sharing with others and then finding my life purpose. I knew this was what I had to do. So that's how I started, furthering my studies. And then I started also teaching for the Institute, which I'm grateful for. All right. And again, welcome to all our attendees. The numbers are going up. And I think with the intro, I will get started as well. All right. So the changing landscape of work, right? We are living through extraordinary times right now, and everything is shifting. So within the last 2 years, many things have changed and nothing is the same. Collaborating with your coworkers has changed, connecting with your team has changed, doing business with your partners, your suppliers, your customers has changed, right? Doing job interviews has changed, definitely. Onboarding new hires has changed. I've onboarded several people in different countries. I have a team in South Africa, I have a team in Israel, I have a team in Turkey, and I've onboarded different people, and it's been different, because we can't travel, everybody works from home, people start a job and they don't even get to go to work in some places. You just need to ship their device and then get them onboarded. So it's been a different experience, right? And then the team building sessions have changed. So everything is shifting. And maybe in the past, work was a place for us to go, and it no longer is. So this is just maybe the beginning of change, and there are big changes ahead. And maybe we want to take a look at, a deeper look at how things are really, really changing. So I want to maybe start off with this notion of the hybrid paradox, okay? Because with the pandemic, many of us started to stay home, right? To work. And then this is like working from home for some of us has been amazing. And for some of us at the same time, or for different people, working from home is the worst, right? So this is really maybe the most mind-bending career conundrum in the past year. though the vast majority of employees, they say they want the freedom of remote work options, right, to stick around. Some exact same percentage. So one is 73%, the other is 67%, but the numbers are very close if you look at them. Some people, they just want more in-person collaboration post-pandemic. And so this is called the hybrid paradox. And this is from a study that was done by Microsoft. It's from the Work Trend Index study from last year. And the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella wrote earlier, says the hybrid work represents the biggest shift to how we work in our generation, right? And many of us can relate to this. So we've gotten so comfortable from, connecting to these calls from the comfort of our homes or from the kitchen table, setting our own hours, yet we also crave for this quality collaborative time with our coworkers at the same time. And the hybrid paradox actually shows us, number one, things are definitely changing, right? We've been living through it. And number two, there's no one size fit all answer really to making this hybrid work actually work. So some people are more productive at home. Some people get more done in the office. Some do best by mixing things up. And the way forward really involves giving the workers the flexibility to design the work schedule that works best for them, right? That really enables them to have this greatest impact that they can actually deliver. So many companies have really embraced this, right? They have started announcing their intention to make hybrid work an option. And the word is, right, the hybrid work is the next great disruption, right? And everybody's talking about, are we ready for this? Are we ready? Yeah, things are really shifting. And people don't go to work. We join work from where we are, and it's changing. And many companies are adopting this. So the question is, which environment is correct for people, right? And as we saw in the previous slide as well, the answer is it's different for everybody. And the real consideration is really, how can we make everyone bring their authentic selves to work? And it could be in physical, right? Bring their physical bodies to work, or it could be in the form of a digital gathering where they can bring their authentic selves to the table and share with their team and do the best work that they can. And I truly believe that the BG5 knowledge can help in this area. And I will be sharing, a bit in the later stages of the webinar around how I think the BG5 knowledge can help and how I have benefited from it myself. Apart from the move to the hybrid, there's also something going on in the US, and I wanted to bring it here, and it's called the Great Resignation. Okay, so these are some examples I wanted to bring to this webinar around how things are really, really shifting. Okay, they no longer are the way they are. So more than 4 million Americans quit their jobs in September only, right? With an additional 40% entertaining the idea of walking out on their employer in the next couple of months. Right? And it's quite remarkable, these numbers. You think of the magnitude of this, right? 4 million people just in a month, and 40% are thinking about leaving. So the Great Resignation is one of the most impactful side effects of the pandemic, let's say, which provided the US workers time and solitude really to reflect, to re-examine and redirect their professional lives. Yeah. And there are many reasons behind why people are quitting their jobs. It's frustration. Sometimes it's feeling undervalued. Sometimes work-life imbalance, inflexibility, exhaustion, right? It was quite exhausting for a lot of us. Or sometimes it's lack of growth opportunities. And with this happening, many companies have mobilized and they have really poured into their recruitment strategies, offering competitive benefits, amenities, perks, different things to make sure they're appealing to top talent. So, maybe, I could ask you as well, are you one of those people who are considering leaving your company, right? Or maybe you're considering changing your current role. So BG5 knowledge could really help you uncover what's right for you and really help you make the right decisions as you embark on this move of what's correct for you. Or maybe you're a business owner whose employees might be considering the change. So how will you handle it? And how will you hire the right people? The BG5 knowledge can also help here. Or it might be the case that you're a consultant or a coach, right? And who can really help these people who are thinking about making this move, right? Their next move in their business lives. The BG5 knowledge could also be a great tool for you to assist and coach these people to make the right choices and give the right decisions at the right time, because it's different for everyone. So as you can see, many people have discovered what they do not want. But how do they know what they want or what they can do, or what they can feel more comfortable in, or the job that they can do with ease? So this is the part maybe a lot of us might need help. And this is where BG5 knowledge could really provide tremendous support, no matter which perspective you're in, being for you or as a business owner or being as a consultant. One other thing I want to bring to the table, which is another shift, and it's a phenomenon going on in the world. And this is the Tang Ping movement, which means lying flat. Okay, so this is actually the lying flat, or Tang Ping, means doing the bare minimum to get by. And it's a new social resistance movement by the youth, if you will, by the younger generations, where you do minimum at work and school because people are tired of the crushing hours of activity, the prices rising and unaffordable housing. And the Chinese youth is really protesting against the culture of this endless work with little rewards. So, all the conditioning that is there, and this is not only in China, but this is just an example, right? But in many parts of the world, the conditioning say you work hard and then you can have a good life. Then you work hard, you can buy the house of your dreams or the car of your dreams. Yeah. We are usually conditioned to say that we just need to work our way up the system. And now the youth is questioning this. Yeah. Why is it not happening? And they're refusing to play the game of trusting authorities, if you will, and believing that if you do what you're told, you will eventually get there. People are questioning things now. Why are the things the way they are? And why are we not getting there? It was promised to us, right? All the conditioning said, if you do it, if you work hard, you'll get your dreams come true. Yeah. And moreover, people are also asking whether it's the correct thing for them to do or not. Are they really happy working so hard? They're questioning it now. Yeah. So some are quitting their jobs, some are changing jobs, some are protesting, like in this case, and living with the bare minimum. But this shows us that people are questioning the system and how things work the way they are. And some are willing to make a stand against it right now, right? So this also shows us that by asking these questions, the change will be even faster. As when you ask questions, you come up with different answers, which bring new things to happen, and then it just grows into something bigger. So here's another example around people wanting change, questioning things, and actually doing something about it. Now I want to actually take you back to the US, okay? Because there's another important phenomena that's also happening in US. So as you see, this is from the title of the slide, a lot of people are quitting their jobs to go into business for themselves. So according to the Labor Department data, there are now 500,000 more self-employed workers than there were as compared to the start of the pandemic in the US. Yeah? And for example, new tax ID applicants has risen by 56%. And people actually selling things on marketplaces have tripled, right? Here's an example from Etsy, from 2.6 million active sellers to 7.5 million sellers. And there are also similar signs from online career sites, marketplaces like LinkedIn or Upwork. So again, people are either changing their jobs, and some are also considering and making the move and taking the leap forward to start their own businesses. Yeah. So people in the business world are changing, and they're looking for what's right for them. Is it changing companies? Is it working for the role that will allow you to work from home? Is it quitting altogether and living with the bare minimum? Or is it setting up your own company? Yeah, there's a lot going on. And with this shift, the BG5 information, which I will tap into in the upcoming slides, could really help both on the personal side, right? For you, and also on helping your employees, your workers, or if you're coaching people, your clients, it would really, really help. I also brought a quote from the LinkedIn CEO, Ryan Roslansky, and he talks about the Great Reshuffle, okay? And this, this one sentence I put on the slide kind of summarizes it in a nutshell. So he's saying you have employees globally who are rethinking not just how they work, but why they work and what they most want to do with their careers and lives. So to me personally, BG5 is a great tool that can help shed light to this search for what's right for individuals, for teams, and also for bigger organizations. Maybe now I spoke a lot about the phenomenon and how things are shifting within the business world. And we saw a glimpse of into the future of work, right? With hybrid starting. I'm sure a lot of you are hearing about the metaverse. Maybe our social life is going to move into a metaverse, but business life and doing business will also move into a metaverse, yes, where we can physically and digitally do the things at the same time. So the future of work is a hybrid motion, and the way people think about working is definitely changing. And we saw this in this first part. And now in the second part of this webinar, I want to tap into how BG5 defines or looks into the changing times. So times we're in and why this information is more important than ever. So just a moment. Okay, so I want to give you some context in looking at the BG5 information and why this information is so important. So we have reviewed some very vivid examples around how things are changing and shifting, right? And how things are no longer the way they used to be. And I brought a few slides from our first class of the foundation course. And we have been using these slides and teaching this information for quite some time now. But every time I teach it and every passing year, I'm really awed by how much change is really happening and how much of it is actually materializing. So according to BG5, we have been in the era of what is called the era of planning for the past 400 years. And right now we're in a transitional phase, moving from the time of planning into the era of the individual. And in moving into the era of the individual, just using this quote from Ra, which I have on the slide. So he said, the whole direction is a shock. It's going to be a shock. Yeah, to be able to operate correctly as yourself, to operate in a world that will demand nothing less. He says it's a world that will embrace those who can operate as themselves. And it will mean a great deal of disorder and chaos and confusion to those who are lost in dependency, because everyone was nurtured in it, because everything about our kind is rooted in dependency. And this is about giving up our authority. So, one of the most important things, as things are changing and they're no longer the way they are, is really to be able to operate as your true self. Being true to yourself, making the correct decisions with your decision-making strategy, not getting distracted by your shadows, but using the conditioning in a healthy way to your advantage. And also using the mechanics in a healthy way when you're aligned, to what is correct for you, connecting with those who you are designed to connect with, connecting with the right people, because nothing in the business world happens in a vacuum, right? We have employers, customers, employees, so it's always about relationships. Yeah. So we are moving into a world that will really embrace those who can operate as themselves. And at the moment, most people are not. In human design terms, we would say people are operating as their not self, right? They're operating out of their shadows, out of their distractions. And they might not be trusting themselves, and they're asking for everybody's opinion or following along with everyone else. But now, as you can see, people are questioning things. What is it? What's right for them? What company, what job? And this is this is actually caused by this background frequency as well, right? Ra said this many years ago. And the shift, this 400-year era coming to an end, and 2027 is about 5 years from now. And we're feeling it. The background frequency is really changing. So again, it's really important to learn how to depend on yourself, because in essence, it's really the only thing that we can trust in these times. Just to give you maybe a little more perspective. So the current world pattern, the background frequency that we live in right now, which is ending, is delusion, okay? So now we see this false enthusiasm all around us, right? The public communication of inevitably unrealized claims, the tendency to express fantasy as fact. You'll remember, for example, when we were discussing about the lie flat movement, right? The youth was promised for years, they need to work hard and they'll buy the house of their dreams and they'll get to a good life. There was lots of fantasy there, and which was presented to them as fact. Work hard, you get what you want. And now people are questioning, is this fantasy or not? Have I been told the right things, which really make me happy in the end? So who do we really trust? What's real? A lot of people are very confused. And the only thing, and the only one that we can really trust is ourselves. And the more we can rely on our own decision-making strategy, the less the shock and the chaos will be for anybody who actually honors their true self, if I may put it that way. And where we are moving to is wisdom. So it is the future pattern in the era of individuality. It is the contemplation in the now, which really results in the ability to apply understanding, right? The establishment for the benefit of society, values, ideals, and their patterns, and how they can be understood and applied really. To transform, the ability to transform individual awareness for general application and understanding. And one of the things about human design and BG5, there are many assessment tools out there. But what I have found is that this is the one system that literally maps out not only how we operate as individuals, but really maps out the mechanics of how the universe operates at the same time. So, it's really moving from that place, from getting lost in that chaos and confusion, where you really need to be able to trust and operate correctly as yourself. And this is becoming more and more essential as time passes. And 2027 is the actual changing point where we will actually be moving out of the era of planning and fully move into the era of individual. And the closer we get to the date, the more shifts that we will continue seeing. So here is let's say maybe a summary slide around how things will be changing. So we said we're in major time of transition and transformation, and things that used to work are starting to break down, right? What once worked no longer works, both maybe personally and in business. So quick summary maybe around what we have seen in these 400 years and this era of planning that we're in. So we have seen actually the rise of all institutions, of large corporations, right? Education, health system, the government. And all of these were created during the age of planning. And it has been about the bargain, especially in the workplace. So you do this for the company and you will get paid X amount. You do this work, you answer the phone, you make your reports, you get paid X amount of money. And it didn't matter if you were fulfilled, and it didn't matter if you're satisfied. And it really didn't matter if it has a bigger purpose. It was just the bargain. You do the work, you get the money, right? But as you can see now from the previous discussion, we saw that is changing now, right? So the era of planning is also about focused concentration. So you can think of the factory jobs, for example. You do the same thing over and over and over. This was this 400 years, right? It was based on this. And as time passes, it's changing now. Think of the Tang Ping, right? People are questioning things. Why am I doing this? Doing the same thing over and over for long hours. I don't want to do it anymore. And then in the era of planning, there's a hierarchy and a system of power, right? And you get promoted up the ladder. And the focus is really on having the right talent and skills for the job, right? Think of the 4-year universities, the community colleges, trade schools. And there's also a concentration that your weak areas, right? You must focus on your weak areas to develop the necessary skills, whether you like it or not. And this was more in the past years, but now we talk about, like in business, we see people talking about, building on your strengths and stuff like that as well. So we let go of our new, maybe inner knowing, and put all our trust and faith in the experts, in the leaders, in the doctors and the scientists and the gurus, if you will, right? And nowadays information is available everywhere, at your fingertips, and it's hard to know what's right and what's wrong. Who do you trust? And the age of planning was really about the individual working alone for the good of the community. Now come the change, and the age of individuality is coming, right? It's almost 5 years now that the actual change is going to happen according to BG5. And that's why the systems and structures are breaking now. With the age of individuality, the focus is shifting as well. Instead of the bargains, it is really about self-empowerment and also empowering others. Yes. So this is why people are asking more questions now. They're quitting their jobs, they're getting into new jobs, they're trying to move into the thing that feels correct by listening to themselves, doing that contemplation and trusting that wisdom. Also trying to know the bigger picture, right? Where does the individual fit into the whole? It's not just being part of the system. And instead of systems of power, it's about the abundance of spirit, expressing who we truly are. Yes, it's not about the label we get as we climb up the ladder. You could think of all those people who are starting their jobs, right? Maybe they worked for a title, maybe, but we just saw 500,000 people are starting their own businesses, maybe going after their dreams or what feels correct for them. And the most important thing, I think, this is the distinction between the two, but trusting ourselves, trusting our inner knowing, not relying on the so-called experts that will take care of everything for us. And, just honoring our true self is the key in the upcoming times. And also, maybe I also want to mention this. This is one of the biggest pieces I love about BG5, right? BG5 is who we are in relationship to others. And if you think about it, it's the only way we could really make material success or money is through some type of relationship with another. Yeah. Whether you're working for yourself, whether you're working for someone else, there's a service that we are offering to someone else in exchange for gains. So it's important for us to learn and understand this at some level, either personally and professionally. So understanding your career type is the first step actually in really being you. Yeah? And the more we are truly ourselves as individuals, the more we can connect into who we are as part of the whole. And then we can also connect to the right people within the system, right? There'll be less shock, there'll be less chaos for us. Yeah? Again, the future is really going to reward individuality, right? It's going to reward being able to operate correctly as yourself instead of depending on others. And this is possible through honoring knowing and honoring your decision-making strategy. So I also brought another slide. I wanted to bring this research from Gartner into this webinar, and it is the top 5 priorities for HR leaders in 2022. I'm not going to get too much into the details, explain everything, but I want to share the high-level idea around it. So according to Gartner, to create workforce resilience, people need to stay healthy. They need, both physically and mentally. They should have healthy relationships, right? As nothing happens in a vacuum in the business world, and it's all about relationships. And the third thing is there needs to be a fostering of this healthy work environment. So in a nutshell, health and healthy relationships are really key in this era where things are really changing. And people will value this. And we see a lot of companies investing around how they can make it better for their employees in that sense. So we said nothing operates in a vacuum, right? So maybe you might have wondered, why some work environments feel comfortable for you, why some others feel really off. Some teams thrive and some others fail. Sometimes, you will go into something and there's an energy drain in one setting. And then with other people and other teams, you'll feel great, right? Or you really click to one person and you feel a resistance to another one, right? And there might be lots of miscommunication. So there's everything depends, right? So in one environment, you could be one way, in another environment, you're another way. Yeah. So it's really important to understand, how we operate as individuals, and also to have the relationships going, and to be able to make all of this work in an effortless and easy way. So this is where the BG5 really provides in-depth knowledge in unveiling these hidden dynamics of relationships and coexisting. There is this unseen, let's say, unconscious frequency that really organizes how we operate as humans when we are together. And in BG5, and this is the information we cover through our curriculum at the Institute as well, we have 4 maps to understand the hidden dynamics. There's, on the individual level, there's the BG5 career design, the body graph, where we understand how we operate individually. Then we take a different level. We talk about partnerships. When 2 people come together, so we take the 2 charts and put them on top of each other. How does the companionship work, right? We talked about many people that are going into setting their own businesses, probably along with someone else, right? That could be. So how would that companionship work for those people coming together? Then there are small groups that come together. So in BG5, we talk about the BG5, the Penta, which is 3 to 5 persons. So if we brought people together, how would that team operate? How would it actually behave? What would be the strengths that everyone brings to the table? And what would be the missing parts, if you will? And who should own what? Which skills, which individual brings into the team? And where do we have gaps? And what's the potential of that team? So BG5 helps us uncover this part too. And then we have the OC16 knowledge, which is about large groups, right? So this is like the synthesis. And I also have another slide, if I may. Yes, so this is actually showing the individual in partnership. The third one is the group, small group Penta. How do several individuals, 3 to 5 people, operate together? And then we have the big organization dynamics. Yeah? So this is really trusting yourself and your gifts and talents to shine from inside out. Yes. And with awareness of these mechanics and the energy dynamics, you could really understand and empower collaboration, help people and yourself correctly understand how you should operate, and then actually understand the energy dynamics behind to really help people to operate correctly as themselves, and they can all move with ease without resistance and be materially successful in the business world. So I gave you lots of examples. So how do we thrive with BG5? So we said times are changing and they're going to change even more. And we should be trusting ourselves. We should know and honor our true self. And the BG5 knowledge and the 4 maps I showed you, which we cover in the curriculum as well, it helps you. If you're a manager, it will help you guide your employees to create impact and to grow their roles and careers. If you're a business owner, it could help you be more successful in your business. If you're a coach or a consultant, how can you empower your clients to find fulfillment and make more money? And as we saw, many people want to find what's right for them. They're looking for a new job. They're thinking about making the move. They want or have established their new business. If you're a consultant, or you want to coach people, right? Maybe you're not doing it now, but you're considering it. I think the demand is going to be on the rise with everything changing, for sure. Or, maybe you want to help startups create successful business launches from a coaching perspective, or your own startup, or those around you from a business consulting perspective. BG5 knowledge could really help, especially the Penta dynamics, who should do what, who can bring what to the table. These are really important. Is it the right time? How do we make decisions as a startup, right? So all the individuals will form it, and you could really help. If you are in HR or you're in recruiting, how do you place the right individuals in the right roles and create this resilient organization? So BG5 knowledge brings a lot of tools to help you understand and to help people understand themselves, right? This knowledge can also help work with children, right? How can you help them reach their potential? High school seniors, college students, which direction do they take in their careers and studies? And then, helping people really bring out their potential in their career. You could also, the information could be useful in helping struggling business owners as times are shifting. People need to adapt to the new thing. So how do these business owners really make their teams resilient, make their business successful? How do they give the right decisions? So all this knowledge could really help. And then also working with small and nonprofit organizations. But most importantly, I think, how can you, if you know this information, it is great at helping you bring out the best out of yourself and be the best of you are, through which you could thrive yourself. And in return, if you were willing to, also help your immediate circle and your business partners or clients in thriving within the shifting times. We just saw examples around how how more and more people will need help in understanding themselves, because there's this huge conditioning, if you will, that exists with them that might actually be a barrier in them making the right decisions for themselves. And this knowledge could really, really help. Right? And I brought just this is all I wanted to cover, actually. And I wanted to, I didn't want to make it too long. It's already been 40 minutes. And there's an attention span. So I tried to keep it as brief as possible. But I also have this additional slide that actually shows the Business Institute curriculum, because we get many questions around how it works and, what are the steps to learn this information, to benefit from it. And Karen, feel free to jump in if you would like. But this is how the curriculum works to understand. There are the foundation classes. You start there. There are 2 semesters. And then there's the BG5 consultant course, which would be 3 semesters. And then you can deep dive into other more diverse areas, working with large businesses, the profit potential workshops. And there's also a career and business cycles curriculum if you would be interested to advance, to coach, or to use it for yourself. So I think if there are any questions, so this is all I wanted to cover. Maybe I can put up my last slide, right? So for those of you who are interested, I know I'm going to get the questions. So the next my foundation class actually starts this week. And everybody is welcome to jump in onto the first class that I have. You can come and be my guest if you would like to come. So feel free. And if there are any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat, and Karen and I will be more than happy to answer them. Oh, you're on mute, Karen.
There we go. That helps.
All right.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Banu. I really love the presentation and really how you brought forth what's really going on in the business world. I mean, we can see that things are dramatically shifting and changing. And just as Banu said, I think, new times require new tools to be able to navigate through all of this craziness. And I have to say, for myself personally, this is what has kept me grounded through all of these crazy times and all of the shifts and all of the changes. So thank you so much, Banu. And we would love to invite you to check out the foundation course. Again, the first class is free, so you can join Banu on Thursday. And we will have a link with the recording. I was just going to grab that link here real quick as well to be able to post it. I wanted to see if there's any questions that you may have of Banu, of myself, or any questions in general. So Alyssa, let's start with Amy. Amy was saying, are corporations that have embraced utilizing, are there corporations that have embraced utilizing human design in their businesses? So the answer is yes. So there's been a lot of, I think we have around 100 consultants, maybe a little bit more now, that are working on a daily basis with small groups, larger organizations. I know I have some students that have worked with some very large companies as well, both in taking a look at going through their full certification and working with them through that and continuing to work through them. So one of the things that I've noticed, and one of the things that I've seen, especially in the last few years, is that people are becoming more open to it, and more people, individuals, businesses, groups are starting to embrace it. And the reason why is because nothing else is working. Nothing else has fit that slot to really be able to see and to navigate through these changing times. And Elizabeth is asking, how are organizations, businesses operating generally shifting into the new 2027? I don't know if you want to say anything to that, Banu.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot going on. And I just brought some examples around how, like from an employment perspective and work perspective, things are changing. But overall, the whole world is changing, right? We're talking about something called the metaverse now, where people will socially interact with their avatars. And we're seeing businesses actually purchasing like land and property and actually designing their goods in the virtual world because we're going to exist there. So, I mean, it's really changing. And then there's this phenomenon that's been going on for quite some time called the blockchain, right? The blockchain is a decentralized system. There's nothing central in it. There's no central authority, but the system and the chain itself is what you need to trust, and everything contributes to it. So instead of central authorities, we see decentralization. So I think the businesses are changing, but there's lots going on and people don't know really where to start, but everybody's starting somewhere. So the operations are also changing. And we're also talking, another thing is sustainability. Everybody's considering now, which is another thing that's there. So everything is changing as the times are shifting, moving towards this decentralization. So yes, there's a lot. Maybe we need to do another webinar around that one.
Yes.
Around how the organizations are also shifting with the changing times, I think.
Yes. And one of the things that you mentioned also in your presentation, Banu, is recognizing that you can't take your employees for granted, and taking a look at how you can empower them, how you can make sure that they're healthy, as you mentioned, both physically and mentally, and how teams and people working together can work in a more healthy way. And I think this is one of the things that this tool of BG5 actually provides, is you actually literally see, in a sense, think of it like a circuit board. Like you actually see a circuit board of what the connections are and where things work and where things don't work, where there's a gap, or where someone brings challenges to someone else. And one of the things that we realize is that it's not personal, right? We take, if we clash with someone else, we often take it very personally. And often we will find that it's not personal at all. It's really built into the mechanics. So it's knowing who are the correct people for you to be around and who are the ones that drain you of energy. Not just in a mental way, but literally in the dynamics of how we're designed. And being able to see that map below the surface really makes all the difference. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Beautiful. Are there any other questions? Again, I encourage you to go to the BG5 Business Institute.com. Again, if you go to education, you can find under foundation, you'll see Banu's foundation course. Again, you can sign up for the first class free. You can also email Banu directly if you have any questions regarding the upcoming semester. So please feel free to do that as well. And Barbara is asking, where can I find a chart of the gates relevant to BG5 and how they interact? So on the website, if you're taking a look at, for example, your own chart, right? So each of us has a career design chart. If you go to the BG5 Business Institute.com, if you go to our website, there is an area there where you can download actually a free chart. So you can start to get a sense of what some of the key aspects are. And through webinars and things like that, we start to inform you. And if you really want to dive in deep and find out what all of those things are all about, that's what the foundation course is all about.
And Amy is asking, can we attend at a different date? There's a scheduling conflict. So Amy, so I'm going to have the class only once, right? And it's a 6-month thing. But if you register for it, you will get the recording. So we always record our classes. So if you can't make it live, if you register for it, you'll get the link to be able to watch it. And then if you have any questions or anything you want to discuss, just go ahead and reach out to me.
Yeah. And we have people that are in different time zones, and sometimes it can be challenging with our schedule. So that's one of the reasons why we do teach it live, but also you can attend via the recording. Also, we have, throughout the year, we also offer additional BG5 foundation courses. So every semester, typically in January, in May, and in September is usually when we start the BG5 foundation courses. So if it doesn't quite work and you really, really want to attend it live, there are opportunities in the future as well to attend one of the courses. Beautiful. Excellent. Well, anything that you would like to say to wrap up, Banu? Again, amazing questions, amazing presentation, and really enjoy your teaching style and the way that you deliver the information. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Karen, and thank you for the invitation and the opportunity for me to bring this together and share it with our broader audience and BG5 fans, if I put it that way. Yes, I think I have benefited so much from this BG5 knowledge. I started for myself. I was just curious. I benefited so much in my personal life, in my career, and then later as I moved to becoming a people manager, you know, working my way within a big organization and also managing my team. I'm a truly believer in it. That's why I started teaching it. And if you're interested in it, you know, I would highly recommend that you take the leap. If it feels right for you, just go ahead and jump into the classes. There's a lot to benefit from this knowledge. And I want to thank each and every one of you for the time and for the questions, and feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And one last question, Ellie said, are there opportunities to interact in class or outside like a study group? And yes, there are opportunities to do that. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, each and every one of you. It has been an honor. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to connect with Banu. You can also email office@bg5businessinstitute.com as well if you want to find out when some of the upcoming courses are, or if you have any additional questions. And again, thank you so very much, and look forward to seeing you in one of our classes. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.